Hello. Well, due to the nature of this video, this is going up on both American Reversion and Integrative Preparedness Patreon channels. For those of you who may not know me, I'm Steve Smith. For those of you who know me, I'm still Steve Smith. I want to talk about the bill, the latest gun control, firearms control Act put out by Sheila Jackson Lee. If you're familiar with her, you know all about it. If you're not, read up on her. You'll be thrilled. This is H.R. 127, put forth in the U.S. House of Representatives. Some of you may be familiar with this already. Many of you may not be, but you need to be. And some of you who are familiar with it may not be familiar with the whole thing. So that's why I'm just going to go through here, and I'm going to read this, what this is about, what it includes. This is, of course, just the latest shot. Won't be the last, not the first, won't be the last, but we need to know about these things, and we need to fight these things where they are, and I'm going to talk about how to fight it at the end of this, okay? And it's important that we fight it the right way, and it's important that everybody get involved in this. Okay, this and we'll be talking in other videos also about how to deal with these things. Okay, H.R. 121, to provide for the licensing of firearm and ammunition possession and the registration of firearms, and to prohibit the possession of certain ammunition. Okay, a bill to provide for the licensing of firearm and ammunition possession and registration of firearms. I just read that. They repeat this stuff a lot, so I'm going to just go through this. This act may be cited as the Sabika Sheikh Firearm Licensing and Registration Act. I have no idea who that person is. Doesn't matter. It's the body of the bill that does. Okay. In general, the Attorney General, through the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, shall establish a system for licensing the possession of firearms or ammunition in the United States, and for the registration with the Bureau of each firearm present in the United States. Now, don't slough this off. They control all three branches of government. Required information. Under the firearm registration system, the owner of a firearm shall transmit to the Bureau: A. The make, model, and serial number of the firearm, the identity of the owner of the firearm, the date the firearm was acquired by the owner, and where the firearm is or will be stored, and B. A notice specifying the identity of any person to whom and any period of time during which the firearm will be loaned to the person. Okay. Deadline for supplying information. The transmission required by paragraph 1 shall be made: A. In the case of a firearm acquired before the effective date of this section, within 3 months after the effective date of this section, or B. In the case of a firearm acquired on or after the effective date, on the date the owner acquires the firearm. Okay. Database. In general, the Attorney General shall establish and maintain a database of all firearms registered pursuant to this subsection. B. Access. The Attorney General shall make the contents of the database accessible to, get this, all members of the public. All of your neighbors are going to know all the guns you have. Everybody who doesn't like you is going to know all of the guns you have. So accessible to all members of the public, all federal, state, and local law enforcement authorities, all branches of the United States Armed Forces, and all state and local governments as defined by the Bureau. Licensing system requirements. General license. Except as otherwise provided in the subsection, the Attorney General shall issue to an individual a license to possess a firearm and ammunition if the individual 1. Has attained 21 years of age. 2. After applying for the license, 1. Undergoes a criminal background check conducted by the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, established under Section 103 of the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act and the check does not indicate that the possession of a firearm by the individual would violate subsection G or N of section 922 or state law. We all pretty much understand what that means. If you don't, look it up. 2, undergoes a psychological evaluation. Okay, you're going to have to go to a shrink. Conducted in accordance with paragraph 2, and the evaluation does not indicate that the individual is psychologically unsuited to possess a firearm. And 3, successfully completes a training course certified by the Attorney General in the use, safety, and storage of firearms that includes at least 24 hours of training and demonstrates that on issuance of the license, the individual will have in effect an insurance policy issued under subsection D. I bet they're going to get into the issuance of firearms insurance. Okay, and may as well. They got into our health insurance, didn't they? Now, if you've got an old rifle that your dad or granddad or great-granddaddy brought back from the war, or you're just a collector, here's an antique firearms display license. The Attorney General shall issue to an individual a license to display an antique firearm in a residence of the individual if the individual first is a holder of a license issued under paragraph A. So first you got to do all that other stuff. Sorry for this. Excuse me while I take a sip from my Second Amendment mug. Everything's better if it's drunk out of a Second Amendment mug. My allergy pill hadn't kicked in yet. Supplies proof that the individual owns an antique firearm, describes the manner in which the firearm will be displayed in accordance with regulations prescribed by the Attorney General, and certifies that the firearm will be so displayed, and demonstrates that the individual has provided for storage of the firearm in a safe or facility approved by the Attorney General for the storage of firearms. C. Military-style weapons license. The Attorney General shall issue to an individual a license to whom and possess a military-style weapon if the individual is a holder of a license issued under paragraph A, so first to do all that other stuff, and then after applying for a license under this subparagraph, successfully completes a training course certified by the Attorney General in the use, safety, and storage of the weapon that includes at least 24 hours of training and live fire training. Psychological evaluation. You know how the Soviets and the Chinese put half of their people in the gulags? Right. Psychological evaluation. That's how we've already understood how they're going after some weapon. Excuse me. A psychological evaluation is conducted in accordance with this paragraph if the evaluation is conducted in compliance with such standards as shall be established by the Attorney General. Boy, isn't that a broad stroke there. That's an umbrella you could drive 3 trucks under. B. The evaluation is conducted by a licensed psychologist approved by the Attorney General. C. As deemed necessary by the licensed psychologist involved, the evaluation included a psychological evaluation of other members of the household in which the individual resides, and, as part of the psychological evaluation, the licensed psychologist interviewed any spouse of the individual, any former spouse of the individual, and at least 2 other persons who are a member of the family of or an associate of the individual to further determine the state of the mental, emotional, and relational stability of the individual in relation to firearms. Denial of license. The Attorney General shall deny such a license to any individual if the individual is prohibited by federal law from possessing a firearm, or the individual has been hospitalized with a mental illness, disturbance, or diagnosis, including depression, homicidal ideation, suicidal ideation, attempted suicide, or addiction to a controlled substance within the meaning of the Controlled Substances Act, or alcohol, or a brain disease, including dementia or Alzheimer's, or on account of conduct that endangers self or others. The Attorney General may deny such a license to an individual if the psychological evaluation referred to in paragraph 2 indicates that the individual has a chronic mental disease or disturbance or a brain disease referred to in paragraph blah, 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 is addicted to a controlled substance within the meaning of the Controlled Substances Act, has attempted to commit suicide or prior psychological treatment or evaluation of the individual indicated that the individual engaged in conduct that posed a threat to self or others. Well, again, that's an umbrella that's pretty wide. We've got members of Congress up there that couldn't get firearms under that. Okay, in general, okay, I'm going to stop there because now it's just into suspension and all the other things. Firearm insurance. We might want to know about that. The Attorney General shall issue to any person who has applied for a license pursuant to subsection C and has paid to the Attorney General the fee specified in paragraph 2. It's a money game. It's money and a control game, but it's more than that. Okay, we know that. Of this subsection, but they're going to make money while they're going through this. Why not make money at it, right? And not only are they going to make money, but they're going to punish the people, those horrible, horrible people who have a gun that they don't like. A policy that ensures the person against liability for losses and damages resulting from the use of any firearm by the person during the 1 year period. The fee specified in this paragraph is $800. They're not even saying that if you like your current firearm insurance, you can keep your firearm insurance. Okay, so you got $800 there. They go, okay. Military style weapon defined. This has got to be great, right? Subsection 921A of such title is amended by inserting the paragraph 29 the following. The term military style weapon means any of the firearms or copies or duplicates of the firearms in any caliber known as Norinco, Mitchell, and Poly Technologies, Kalashnikov, Action Arms, Israeli Military Industries, Beretta AR-70, Colt AR-15, Fabrique Nationale, FN, Blastire, Intratec, Tech 9, revolving cylinder shotguns, semi-automatic rifle that has an ability to accept a detachable magazine and has at least 2 of folding or telescoping stock, pistol grip that protrudes conspicuously beneath the action of the weapon, a bayonet mount because so many people are killed with bayonets, a flash suppressor or threaded barrel designed to accommodate a flash suppressor because we don't want our flashes to be suppressed, a grenade launcher, a semi-automatic pistol that has the ability to accept a detachable magazine and has at least 2 of an ammunition magazine that attaches to the pistol outside of the pistol grip, a threaded barrel. Okay, we know what all that's going to be, right? Okay. They are coming, and they are coming hard. It goes on and on. Look it up yourself if you want some real nice reading. Get some frames to frame it in, hang it in your den. But we know what's happening. Okay, they're coming, and they're coming hard. Now, let me suggest how to respond to this. Of course, we have to respond to it, and we have to respond to it hard. Now, I've talked before on some of these things about it is not time to go the old some of 1776, but it is not time to go beyond talk and fighting for the hearts and minds of the people. We have to find it. If you're familiar, if you ever watched The Godfather, I think it's in the movie. I don't know. It's in the book anyway, and it was certainly something that those of us who followed a certain tradition understand, that in that Don Corleone says you can... the reason that he sent Tom Hagen to law school is because he saw that you can steal... one lawyer with a briefcase can steal twice as much as men with guns. Okay. It is not time for guns. It is time to keep our guns, but it's not time to use them except for what we use them at, right? For hunting and for protection and for sport and things like that. It is time to fight this, to elevate ourselves into the battle of words, of legalities, of public opinion, of hearts and minds, and bringing pressure on our elected officials. and I'm going to interject something right here for anybody who says it doesn't matter, voting doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what we send to our elected representatives. Well, let me ask you this: what effect does not doing that have? Okay, not doing that lets them roll over. If you don't vote, if you don't write your congressman, if you don't call, they have an easier time. So what you're essentially doing is giving them an easier time. Okay, they're gonna cheat. I get it. Okay, but there are ways about this that we have to go before we elevate, and which I believe can be successful because they've been successful in the past. Now, here are one thing you can do 6 ways. I think. We'll see. And it's going to cost a lot less and take a lot less time than driving to Washington or Richmond, Virginia, but it will have much more impact. Okay. And yet, I bet most people won't do this. But if you do it, it will have an effect. Okay. First off, take a couple of hours. I don't care if it's this afternoon, tomorrow, whatever, but pretty quick. And write to your congressman. Write to your congressman. Now, right now, I can hear a lot of people, oh, that doesn't work. Hey, I know, congressman, it works. Okay? Write them. Tell them that you are familiar with this bill and under no possible form do you want them to vote for this. Explain to them the importance of the Second Amendment. Okay. I don't care. You don't have to get flowery. You can simply say, I want to let you know that I am aware of this bill being put through by Sheila Jackson Lee, HR whatever it is. It'll be in the title of this. And I encourage you not to vote. As an American citizen who holds fast to all of their constitutional rights, including the rights born under the Second Amendment, I encourage you to not allow this either to come, not support it, not co-sponsor it, and if it gets to a vote, vote against it. Okay, and you make a letter of that. You make a letter of that, and you send one copy to your congressperson, and then you send another one to Sheila Jackson Lee, and then you send a third to Nancy Pelosi. All of their addresses can be found very easy. If you want to send them to other congressmen, do it, okay? If you want to send it to your senator, this isn't a Senate situation yet, but it's good to let the senators know that you're involved in this too, because they are up for votes, okay? And local politicians are much more susceptible to pressure than the nationals, okay? You need to bring the pressure. If they will look at on thousands of people outside the State House in Richmond or in Washington, and it might back them down for a minute, but I tell you what they think. They think those are just a bunch of people that are going to go away pretty quick. We'll back up on our bump stocks. We'll back up on our pistol braces, but they're going to go away because these people don't have the stamina. They don't stick with things, okay? Let's show them that we stick with things for a change, shall we? And let's stick with it. Okay. The second thing you do is you send an email with the exact same message in it, and you send that to your congressperson and to Sheila Jackson Lee and to Nancy Pelosi and anybody else you want to, and your newspaper, whatever you want. Okay. And then the third thing is you call and you leave a voice message. Or you talk. Sometimes one of their staffers will pick up the phone, and most of them, not all of them, but most of them will have a little running list there, and they'll mark down. They might not be polite to you, but be polite to them to the extent you want to. I don't care. And they're going to keep a list because those Congress people, they want to be reelected. And if they get a whole lot of their constituents calling saying, I'm not voting for you and I'm working for your opponent, if you pass this, their first loyalty is to themselves, okay? And they will take that into consideration. So you call them and you either talk to their staff or you leave a message. This is so-and-so. I'm in your district. I live at such and such. You're not exposing yourself. They already know, who you are, if you give your name. And I'm against this. And besides that, it's your right as an American. And if we're not willing to stand up on these things, what are we willing to do? Okay, I know a lot of people say, I don't want to give my name. I don't want to stand up. And yet these same people claim that they're ready to go out there to war. Okay, I don't believe it. If you're not willing to stand up with your name, you're not willing to go to war either. So you do those things. You put the same message together. You mail it so that they get an avalanche of letters into their office. That's something they can see. You send emails so that their email list is just full. Okay, and then you make a phone call. Now, if you're not willing to do that, you're not willing to do anything else. And I think most of the people here are. And share this with your friends. Share this with everybody you know who may be, there are probably a lot of pro 2A people out there that aren't familiar with this yet. Okay, a lot of people, to be honest, just don't go that deep. There are probably a lot of people on the edges that you can explain to them. You can introduce this in a gentle way and explain to them what a serious problem and threat this is. Do that. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But if we're not in a fight, there's an old saying that silence always helps the oppressor, never the oppressed. And then, of course, Burke's famous saying that all that's required for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Let's be good men and women. Let's do something, and don't let our silence help the oppressor. Let's let our vocalization and our opinions help the oppressed. Okay? I'll leave it at that, and I wish you, since this is going on both, remember that America needs a reversion, and it needs you to be a part of it. And for integrative preparedness, folks, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and this is an important preparation. So you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.